Abhishek. Can you elaborate it methodologically?
So it is basically when a new king is placed on the throne. So it is basically a ritual in which
Very good, very good.
it is basically a ritual in which he is basically proclaimed the region king of a particular kingdom.
Can you cite some example where Abhishek had a big importance?
We have seen itself in Himachal Pradesh only.
Very good. Which place?
In Rampur Bushehr after the death of Raja Veerbhadra Singh. So his
Agreed.
son was placed on the throne after Raja Abhishek.
You witnessed the whole ceremony?
So I watched it on YouTube. But
Oh, good. Why is it important for only in royal families? Why don't we do in our own family?
Basically, it is an ancient ritual in which it was a thinking that the kings they come from, they are basically the sons of gods. So
Beautiful.
yes, they are basically the sons of God. So they are here to protect their kingdom, to protect the lives of the people. So basically, this is.
They are given the responsibilities, irrespective of the age, whether you are. Can you tell at what age Akbar got the throne of Delhi?
Sir,
What was his age when he got Raj Tilak? In Mughal Empire, we don't call it Raj Tilak, but
yes, sir.
by different name, he got a throne of Delhi in Mughal Empire. What was his age?
I think he got at the age of 15, sir.
30. Who was his political guru or who was his guardian basically? Have you studied history?
I have not studied medieval history very well.
You should study.
Yes.
Akbar was a great king.
Yes, sir. So
You know he was a great king?
yes, sir.
Why he was great king?
Sir, because of his conquest and because of his policies of religious tolerance also, because he actually wanted to assimilate the people from all the religions under his religions.
What was his policy? My dear Sheikh, what do we call it?
So it was Sunni Kul, under which he.
What the dharma or dharma he propagated out of Islam or out of Hinduism is a particular name given to it.
Yeah, I'm not able to recall. I've studied it.
Dini Lai?
Dini Lai, yes. Dini Lai.
Okay, very good. So you studied engineering basically,
Yes,
but you are coming here.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you think it's a brain drain? Why should I spend crores or lakhs of rupees on NITs every year?
Sir, I think
If some candidate has to aspire for civil service, he would have gone arts and did his graduation, simple arts college, or then masters from any recruit college or institution. Then he could have come for the competitive exam. But I think if you are in electrical engineering or what?
electrical engineers.
Can you tell me the Faraday's law, the basic law of Faraday?
So according to it, if the conductor is placed in a magnetic field, and if conductor is moving in a magnetic field, then EMF is generated in that.
What is EMF?
So it is an electromotive force, which basically which is basically a driving force of the current from one place to another.
What is current, beta?
So current is basically flow of electrons.
Beautiful.
From one place to one
You
place.
give me the right answer. What is the meson? I have heard about electron, proton, neutron, but I have never heard meson. And have you knowledge about meson?
They are also subatomic.
Beautiful. Who invented who gave the theory of meson? And do you have any idea? Any scientist in the Asian country?
No, sir.
It was in Japan, meson. They are the binding forces within the neutron.
Yes.
Okay. Why Bohr failed, the atomic theory failed? You have an idea about the Bohr theory of atom? I am asking basic question of plus 2. It's not an engineering question, but they are correlated with the higher education in your NIT.
So I think he was not able to explain the attractive forces between protons and
Good,
neutrons.
very good. You from where you did your plus 2?
So I did from DAV Public School, Mirpur.
I just did it from your basic science. When Hamirpur district was founded?
It was basically founded in 1972 as a separate district. Otherwise, it was.
Any idea about date also better? Because in HGS, the preliminary exam, you have very tough. And you have very chronological figures in the preliminary exam. There is a history, there is a philosophy of in Himachal Pradesh. So, and do you know exact date when Hamirpur was founded?
So I think it was somewhere around 1st September.
Beautiful. Can you tell me something about Raja Sansar Chand, which area he belonged and what impact of cultural civilization in Himachal Pradesh vis-a-vis his impact on Rajput kingdom of North India? And adding to it, he was defeated by Amar Singh Thapa.
Yes, sir.
I don't remember his date, but I belong to such place, I will not tell you. He was sheltered in that place. So you have to give me three answers. Cultural religious impact of Raja Sansar Chand on Kannada history. Then, where he took shelter in Himachal Pradesh after retreat from Gorkhas. Aram se, don't be panicked because the interview is not something to judge your knowledge. It is I am judging my previous knowledge. Okay.
So he basically was an expansionist. So he basically wanted to expand his empire.
Good.
So he basically belonged to district Kangra.
Good.
And
Which clan? कोई वंशज जैसे हिंदी में बोलते हैं राजा संसार चंद फलाना के वंशज फलाना किंगडम
Sir, I'm not able to recall.
कटोच.
Kator dynasty.
Do you know when this Jwalamukhi Treaty was signed between Raja Ranjit Singh? Because it is a history of Himachal Pradesh which you have got preliminary and then the main, then you are going for interview.
Yes.
And in interview you can't say I don't know sir or I'll try to scratch my knowledge. If you don't know, okay sir, I'm sorry.
It was in 24th August 1809.
It was something 1739, 1739 में. Why Jwalamukhi is very famous in Himachal Pradesh?
It is because of the deity of Jwalamata.
क्या है बेटा उसकी महत्ता क्या है? If I ask in Hindi, माता ज्वाला की महत्ता बताइए मुझे आप. You just narrate it in Hindi, I don't mind.
So वहाँ पे अकबर ने कन्क्वेस्ट करने की कोशिश की थी. तो उन्होंने पानी भी डाला था, ऊपर से बहुत चीजें डाली थी, बट वो बुझी नहीं थी.
आप गए थे बेटा वहाँ? Have you been to their temple?
Yes, sir.
Tell me one thing very important about Dr. Yashwant Singh Parmar's role in Himachal history. In some 10 words.
So he was basically the maker of modern Himachal Pradesh. So he basically struggled a lot to provide autonomy to Himachal Pradesh, be it from territoryhood to statehood. So he was basically instrumental in providing autonomy to in various respects in Himachal Pradesh.
And any other big role he had played for shaping the geographical density of Himachal Pradesh?
Yes, sir. The different parts of Punjab was also included into.
Beautiful. Today I read some statement of Punjab Khalistan leader. Who is that leader? And he talked about something nonsense. Have you gone through the today's newspaper day before yesterday's newspaper? There was some controversy going on. That some because of Punjabs are coming with what?
So they are basically the believer of separate state of Khalistan. So basically he said that he'll come to Shimla and he will flag the flag of Khalistan in Shimla.
With emblem or signal, sign of what? Which religious leader or fanatic leader of Sikh?
Bhindranwale.
That's the right answer, beta. Very good. I don't know whether Russia did a right thing on attacking Putin and whether the role of NATO, I don't know what the role of NATO is. How do you perceive the outcome or the after effects of Ukraine? I should say it's a war or it's a conflict or it is, hegemonical dominance of Russia over the separated part. How do you see the attack of Putin on Zelensky?
So I think we have to see from both the sides. So normally the attack of Russia is not perceived very good in Western media. But if we see from Russian perspective, so we can see that NATO has been intruding into Russian sphere of influence. For example, sir,
right answer. This will hit the nail here. It was the interference of NATO because when they separated in '92,
yes,
it was I don't know if there was a charter of understanding between the US or Russia, but it was basically agreed that they won't interfere much in the affairs of the separated countries. So why there was a separation of these more than 15 countries from USSR or so called? Have you heard about something? Glasnost or Perestroika?
yes, sir.
Who was the president of Russia that time?
So I think it was Nikita Khrushchev.
No, it is long back. When the Russian Revolution took place, in which year?
It was in 1918. 1917.
17 बेटा, 197.
October Revolution of 1917.
Why Himachal Pradesh is important and why it's famous, why the people are attracted towards it, and what are the economical resources of this state?
So first and foremost, when we talk about Himachal Pradesh, the first thing that comes into mind is the enigmatic mountains and the pristine rivers of Himachal Pradesh,
Beautiful, right answer.
through which people are attracted
Done.
to different parts of India.
Now you go. What are the natural or other economical resources in Himachal Pradesh?
So the major economic resource is the rivers of Himachal Pradesh, because of which we have been able to install
As an engineer, you should say it's the hydropower. It's the
Yes.
most important.
hydropower projects. So we have been generating a lot of revenue from hydropower projects.
What is social impact assessment?
The social impact assessment is basically done to see the effects of a particular project on the people, those who are living in a particular area, who might be displaced because of that particular project.
Very good. When Himachal Pradesh University came into existence,
So it's,
हिमाचल प्रदेश विश्वविद्यालय कब बना था ये जो हमारा समरील बना है?
so it was in
It was 22nd July 1971. After coming of Modi in after 2014 or say you go after 2019, there is always a major political controversy in the country. After more so after 2019, 2019 के बाद, can you cite some of the controversies which took place in this country in last 2 years?
So majorly we have seen a lot of rise of right-wing nationalism in the country, which included lynching of a clerk in Uttar Pradesh. And so apart from that, we have been seeing violence related to some dharm gurus also, like we have seen in Panchkula also after the sentencing of Baba Ram Naik. Apart from that, so we have been seeing religion violence in West Bengal also during Navratri Pujas.
Don't you think that the important issues of major political controversy in this country took, मेरे ख्याल से I do feel is Kisan agitation throughout North India was more impacted upon, and then the New Citizen Act,
Yes, sir.
and then the NEET controversy in Tamil Nadu.
Yes, sir.
Are they not important as good as you felt it rise of fundamentalism?
They are equally important.
What is Article 370?
Article 370 was basically a special provisions that were given to state of Jammu and Kashmir during the time of accession, because Jammu and Kashmir did not was not included into India's state away after independence. It was only after instrument of accession that Jammu and Kashmir was included in India.
Why Jammu and Kashmir is specially for 370? Why not Hyderabad and Goa? Because Hyderabad merged in 1948 and Goa merged in India with the Union of India in 1961.
Sir, basically it was because of, I think, sir, unbalance in the regional. I mean, sir, there was population of Muslim population in Jammu.
Hyderabad was ruled by Muslim, Junagadh was ruled by Muslim,
But
Goa was ruled by Christians.
But sir, at that time we were able to control through police action in Hyderabad and.
So why not in JNK?
So because they were being fueled by Pakistan, the terrorists were fueled by Pakistan, and we were not able to control the separatists.
Can you name the important cities of Pakistan occupied Kashmir or?
Sir, Gilgit, Baltistan region, Khyber, Gilgit, Baltistan region.
Muzaffarabad
Okay.
is the capital city. Do you think, and what you as a citizen of India, as a free independent India, feel like the recent films on Kashmir files? Is it, what do you think about it?
I think they have been able to put out the picture that the Kashmiri Pandits they have been going through since last many years, and which culminated basically in 1990 after there was a mass exodus of Kashmiri Pandits from Kashmir. But I think that showing this thing in a very negative manner can influence certain extremist people, and they can go on to fuel violence in different parts of the country, and there can be religion violence in different parts of the country because of that.
What do you think about the role of Biden while evacuating the forces from Afghanistan?
So I think he was more concerned about his own
His own well-being.
security. And
Right answer.
Okay, Abhishek, coming back to your profile, the usual question that immediately comes in mind is that like you were having a corporate job earlier. You were working with Tata Power, right?
Yes.
So the usual questions obviously comes that first of all, in what capacity were you there?
So I was basically working as an electrical substation manager,
Okay,
in which I was leading a team of 7 to 8 people.
okay,
And so my basic role was to have the maintenance of electrical equipments and in electrical substation.
okay.
Yes.
So again, like you were having a proper corporate job.
Yes.
Even your educational profile is quite good. Like you did your BTech with 80% of marks.
Yes.
Like you're a very qualified engineer. So again, like sir asked that now you are coming into civil services, and despite having a proper corporate job, you decided to switch.
Yes.
So why you took that decision?
So basically, in Tata Power, when we went to Tata Power, we were basically involved in corporate social responsibilities activities in Tata Power. So we visited different slums area in Tata Power. And so what I got to see there was lack of basic amenities. They were not having good facilities there. The government facilities were not available to them, and so even the electricity connections were not available to them, and they were not able to have meals of 3 times properly. So these things I discussed with my father and my sister who were into the government jobs in Himachal Pradesh. So they basically advised me to come into administrative service where I'll be having power authority and responsibility where I can make a change and provide basic amenities to the people those who are not able to get this.
Okay, but Abhishek, the thing is that this is all well and good, but the thing is that whenever we talk about India, right, you take any timeline in like recent Indian history, these problems persist and they keep on persisting.
Yes.
And despite such a great talent coming into civil services,
Yes.
the problems don't seem to go away. So, what is your opinion on that? So, why is that? Why India keeps on lagging behind? Like we are quite behind in many of the international rankings and parameters, be it the food, the hunger index, the food index, right, the happiness index, a very basic thing. So why do you think that India is lacking after so many years and after having so much talent in say in bureaucracy, and then technical fields, we are still lacking? Why is that?
So major problem of India is the population of India. And so the financial resources that we have in India, we are not able to cater to the needs of all the people of India because of the population issue. So, sir, apart from that, sir, we have not been able to generate the revenues up to the extent that we should to cater to the needs of people of India. And sir, apart from that, sir, the administrative efficiency is not also very good. So, because of I think job security, some people are not very willing to work towards the goals that they are given to. So, I think.
And the unemployment rate right now is quite high in India.
Yes.
So how do you see we going to the promised 5 trillion economy or things like that? So how do you think? What are, if I have to ask, like I have to rephrase, what are the 3 areas of Indian economy where we should focus a lot more so that we can reach that goal?
So, like for example, in India we have a very rich demographic dividend. So we need to arrest the demographic dividend by providing them proper job opportunities, in which we can firstly go for skill development of the people, those who are coming into the job sectors. Apart from that, sir, we need to increase the gross enrollment ratio of the students because we do not have a very charming figures as far as gross enrollment ratio is concerned in the higher education sector. So apart from that, we need to focus upon the manufacturing sector. So the growth of manufacturing sector in India is very low as compared to what we aspire in Make in India.
But Abhishek, yes, Make in India failed miserably.
Yes,
So they tried it in manufacturing sector, but so why do you think that Make in India failed so miserably, in spite of having such a great demographic dividend? As you mentioned, we have quite a young population, a big labor force. Why do you think that such a big project like Make in India failed in India to attract job opportunities, to attract talent? to increase production. Why do you think it happened?
So I think we have not been able to generate the money that is required for the investment in India. Apart from that, sir, we were not even able to attract the foreign direct investment, those who would have come and installed their industries in India, which would have provided jobs to the people, those who are aspiring for jobs. So some of the reasons might be because of the political policies that we have in India. We are not very friendly to taxation regime. We have very high taxation regime as compared to what we have in different parts of the country. So they are not very willing to come into India and invest. Apart from that, sir, the companies those who come and invest in India, they also face red tapeism as far as clearances of files are concerned. So.
Okay. And again, coming to that question of unemployment and the pool of talent that we have. Okay, you're a young guy. You have worked in corporate now. You are going to enter into civil services and all. So, as a young professional, I would ask you, what kind of insecurities and what kind of why is not why are the people of your age are not satisfied? What bothers them regarding the present state of India? What bothers them? Because you have to work here, you have to work here, you have to raise families here. So could you just tell me three things that really bother you personally that you think is problematic in India of today?
Sir, I think first thing that bothered me was to have a proper job security.
Okay.
Because I have been preparing for somewhere around 3 years.
Okay.
So I did not have a job for 3 years after I left my job. So one of the major thing is the job security, and the second thing is I think, sir, the rising pollution levels. Because, sir, one of the major reason of resigning from my job was also because of the problems I faced because of the pollution in Delhi.
Okay.
I think that also might be one of the reasons.
Okay.
And so the third thing could be, sir, as we are growing, then we have seen that our parents are also growing old. So another major problem is to be with our parents for a longer period of time, so that we can take care of them.
Okay. Abhishek, like sir asked you when sir asked you about the various controversies. You basically mentioned religious extremism.
Yes.
And like the issue of Kashmiri Pandits. You were worried that the movie, the Kashmir Files, that movie may be used as a platform to incite violence in various parts of the country. So regarding the state of religious tolerance, I would say, do you see India is going, say in the next 10 years? Is it going to hamper us in a serious way, or is it just a part of our social evolution?
I think, sir, it is a part of our political narrative. The rise of right-wing extremism or right-wing nationalism is basically a part of political narrative. And the other major reason could be the lack of job opportunities that we have there for the youth. So they are basically swayed away by the narratives, and they get into this sort of right-wing extremism in India.
Do you see any kind of reconciliation for Kashmiri Pandits? And if so, how do you see it?
I think, sir, since now Jammu and Kashmir has been declared a Union territory, so there is a control of center in Jammu and Kashmir. So we can firstly go on to improve the security conditions in Jammu and Kashmir, and then they can be rehabilitated back to their own places if they are willing to. So, but before that, we need to ensure that we do have proper security for them in Jammu and Kashmir.
Okay, and how relevant do you see secularism for India? How relevant do you see it?
I think, sir, India is a secular country. We have been able to uphold the credentials of a secular country, and although there have been certain incidences where we have not been able to uphold the credentials, but I think, sir, we have been very successful in maintaining the secularism in India.
So, do you think India is better off secular or something else?
I think, sir, we are very fine with secularism in India, because we do have multicultural diversity in India, in which we do have different religions. So secularism is very necessary for different religions to coexist in India.
Okay, Abhishek, do you have any kind of opinion regarding the hijab issue that is going on in Karnataka?
I think, sir, although we have been we have been listening a lot about the freedom of speech and expression of the people, those who are wearing, of the girls, those who are wearing hijab. But I think, sir, there has to be uniformity that is to be maintained. There has to be a proper conduct that has to be there in a particular university. So I think, sir, since Karnataka High Court has also declared that this is not an essential practice of Islam, so we can definitely go for uniformity rather than going for selection on the basis of different religion.
Okay. Sir, I also asked you about Russia and USSR, certain questions. Can you mention some of the contributions that communists have in Indian history of the 20th century?
So basically, so the Communist Party of India was basically established in 1928 in Kanpur in India. So they were basically involved in providing various opportunities to the people, those who are not able to get basic things, in the sense that basic amenities are not available to them by the government. So they were basically able to raise the voice of those people. And I think, sir, but they were also involved in violence also. That was not correct on their part. But yes, sir, they were able to highlight the plight of the people.
And how do you differentiate between communism and communalism?
Okay, so communism is basically providing equal opportunities to different peoples, be it in jobs, education, and every sector. And so communalism is basically a theory in which people have different religions and they have antagonizing thoughts about their religions.
What's your optional?
My optional is horticulture.
Horticulture.
Yes.
You have written in horticulture. Right. So, what are the main issues in Himachal Pradesh that the horticulture department is facing?
So I think first and foremost, the main reason is about the geography of Himachal Pradesh.
Okay.
We are not able to find very plain and level surfaces in Himachal Pradesh,
Okay.
which through which we are not able to have very good productivity in Himachal Pradesh. And so the second thing is the connectivity to the hinterlands of Himachal Pradesh. Since we do not have very good connectivity to the remote areas, the produce that we are producing at the remote areas, we are not able to market them at good prices. So it takes a time to transfer the goods from the area of produce to the markets. And
What comes in horticulture?
so it includes the fruits growing, vegetables growing, so aromatic plants growing. Then sir, we have
Abhishek, I want to ask you, why do you think the apple production in Himachal per hectare is so low? What's the biggest problem here with apple production?
so the biggest problem might be, as I said, sir, the geography.
I mean, see, if you compare it, even you leave aside the foreign, the foreign varieties of apples. Even if you compare to Jammu and Kashmir, we have very low per hectare production of apple. Why do you think it is so? And we are facing a very stiff competition from apple from even tropical countries like Indonesia. So, why do you think apple production per hectare is so low in Himachal Pradesh?
So, yes, one of the reasons might be because of the extreme weather conditions that we sometimes incur in different parts of Himachal Pradesh. For example, so we have hailstorms in different parts of Himachal Pradesh, which are detrimental to the.
And what about the growing practices?
I think we are adopting the modern practices also right now. Otherwise, sir, we were not very fond of hide and stick planting in Himachal Pradesh, but right now, sir, we are focusing on hide and stick planting, and it is also being promoted by Horticulture Department of Himachal Pradesh by going to different areas and educating the farmers about these practices.
Okay.
Debt is very high in Himachal Pradesh. What is the amount of debt
Debt.
in Himachal Pradesh?
Sir, I'm not aware of debt facilities, but we do have.
Okay. Our debt is high.
Yes.
So suggest some reasons so that we can curtail it.
So I think, sir, we can go on to increase the royalty that we receive from hydropower projects.
Okay.
So, for example, so we currently have somewhere around 972 crores that we receive from hydropower projects. And if we talk about other hydropower projects in Western Ghats also, so they are getting very high royalty as compared to what we are taking from private companies in hydropower projects. In this we can go on to increase the revenue. Apart from that, sir, we can go for tourism diversification in Himachal Pradesh. So right now we are only concerned with Shimla and Himachal Pradesh. So whenever we talk about Himachal Pradesh, as an outsider, only Shimla and Manali it comes to our mind. So we can go on to diversify our tourism positions also, as we have been focusing a lot in in a particular scheme that is being promoted by government of Himachal Pradesh.
So what are the schemes for that?
So like for example, we have opened
Nahi Manzil? Okay,
Nai Manzil we have, under which we are going for tourism diversification.
natural farming.
Yes.
Are you aware about it?
Yes.
What are the steps taken by government of Himachal Pradesh?
So we are basically going for a scheme called Prakratik Kheti Kushal Yojana, under which we have been educating the farmers through extension workers.
Recently in budget some steps, because Himachal Pradesh is going to be the first state
Yes.
that is implementing it in the government sector. So some steps taken by our state.
So we have also gone for zero budget natural farming, which was basically laid stressed upon by the Chief Minister of Himachal Pradesh in his first speech. So we are basically going for the fertilizers which are basically produced within the farm household only. So we are not going for external fertilizers.
People are discussing about uniformity in marriage age,
Yes.
which was the committee which gave the suggestion in uniformity in marriage age for boys and girls. Are you aware about any committee?
Sir, I am not aware of it.
It was Jaya Jetli committee which said the girls' marriageable age should be increased to 21.
Yes, sir.
So is it a red step?
I think, sir, it is the right step.
Why?
Because, sir, if we talk about current scenario, sir, women are given equal importance in terms of economic sector also. So they do have to face a lot of problems as far as social issues are concerned, because they normally, if they want to go for higher education or higher jobs, so if we'll be having higher marriage age, then they can have a certain mental satisfaction that we are being considered equally as compared to men, and we can also go for higher economic opportunities and higher education opportunities.
Okay. So have you heard about Akshay Tritiya? Something it happens in Rajasthan.
So it is basically a foundation which goes for feeding to different.
Akshay Tritiya is a time when child marriages happen. Suppose you are given a job at such a place where there are a lot of child marriages. And it happens, like Akshay Tritiya is the time they want to get their child married. How will you curtail such a situation, such a problem of menace of child marriage?
If I'll be having the power, I'll be constituting a committee.
You will be the SDM, and you are the SDM, right? What will you do?
So I'll be basically constituting a committee,
Okay.
which will be including not only men but women equally.
Okay.
So I'll tell them to go to villages and raise awareness about child marriage, about the bad effects of child marriage. So apart from that, I would personally also go to that particular place where there would be very high chances of child marriage, and persuade the people that that this is a bad practice and we can curtail that practice.
So you will go by yourself and try to make people aware.
Yes, first I will be sending a team.
Okay.
I'll tell them to persuade people to not go.
What will you say? And for example, just convince me. I am a person from a village, and who knows, this is the best time. If my child gets married, then everything will be fine in his or her life.
Okay, sir. So firstly, I'll be telling about the biological repercussions of child marriage. And then secondly, sir, I'll be telling about the responsibilities that one has to bear after he is married. So if a child is not mature enough, so he will not be able to handle the responsibilities that comes with marriage. Thirdly, sir, I'll be telling about the economic opportunities that not only the male child or male child can have once he is free. But
You told us about Russia-Ukraine conflict. In the bordering regions, what are the places in Ukraine where the conflict is happening?
Sir, it is Luhansk and Donetsk region
Okay.
in which Russia has invaded. Apart from that, sir, earlier Crimea was also a part of Ukraine, which was invaded and captured by Russia.
There is Crimea, and there is one sea. Which sea is there?
So it's Black Sea.
Black Sea and within, so black in the Black Sea, can NATO go?
Since right now, since Russia has control over the Crimea region, so they do have stationed their army in Sevastopol port also. So I think it would be.
There is a small sea it's within the territory, like inside Crimea and Russia. Which is that sea? Are you aware about it? Sea of Azov.
Sea of Azov, yes.
Sea of Azov. It connects Black Sea.
Yes.
Which is the strait that connects Black Sea?
I think so. It's I'm not able to recall that.
Strait of Kerch. You were talking about women's development. What is women-led development? Because in the budget we are talking about it.
So it is basically, for example, if we have to make a particular policy about women empowerment, so the policy should be made by the women. They should be led by the women, and the progressive steps that we are taking for the women empowerment in a particular state or a particular country, they should be basically devised by women.
Right. What are the steps taken by government of Himachal Pradesh to promote women-led development?
Firstly, we are basically concerned about the social sector. For example, we have been providing them free gas connections under HP Green Suvidha, so that they do not have health issues. Apart from that, sir, we have been providing various subsidies so that they can form SHGs and they can go for self-employment.
There is a recent scheme for SHG. We are providing money to them in the budget. What is the scheme?
So I think it's Mahila Shaktiikaran Yojana.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
For that we are providing. How much money are we providing to the self-help group?
So yeah, I think it's somewhere around 25,000.
20,000. Right. Are you aware about Gati Shakti Yojana?
Sir, I'm not very sure, but I think it is related to the increasing the speed of trains in India.
It's about multimodal connectivity. And Parvat Mala Yojana?
So Parvatmala Yojana is to connect the ropeway connectivity in Himachal Pradesh.
Recently we are talking about interlinking of rivers.
Yes.
है ना? Why is it being criticized?
So I think, sir, like for example, we talked about Ken Betwa link. So it basically led to deforestation in certain national parks which were in between. Apart from that, there can be loss of habitats of animals, also those who were living in that national parks. Apart from that, sir, it can also lead to some water pollution because of the dredging activities that we might have during interconnectivity of rivers. Apart from that, sir, displacement of tribal people, those who are living in the national parks area, that is also a major concern in this respect.
Right. You left Delhi because of pollution. What are the reasons for pollution in Delhi?
So the major reason is because of increasing vehicles in Delhi, because mostly people are going for personal vehicles rather than going for public vehicles. Apart from that, so one of the major reasons is also of stubble burning of Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh. So they basically burn the leftover stubble, and that is causing the increase in pollution level in Delhi.
When you intend to marry? Are you married? Don't you intend to marry?
So I think once I'm settled,
What settled? If the marriage is not an impediment for settlement?
I think so marriage comes with a lot of responsibilities, so it might lead to certain restrictions.
But there is a lot of talk about marital rape. I don't understand what is marital rape.
I think, sir, it is once a person is married, so he thinks that he has all the right over the woman body, so he can do anything without.
Don't you think it is a conflict with the religious rituals or religious mindset or Saath Fere philosophy? When you are not married, but when you will marry the Saath Fere ke baad, then you are given responsibilities. Don't you think it will be conflict with the basic social religious thinking of India, and it will conflict with some personal laws of other communities?
So I think we cannot go on to have right over other body. Supreme
To my mind, if I am at your place, I think we cannot imitate all the Western practices. So you have to see the problem, then its perspective, and then solution. If somebody is happening in Finland, why should India should bother? Or why a woman, I should say, should be so free? Why there is a lack in teaching in the family? That's why there are things like marital rape. We have not heard such in the past, in the last 50 years back. Do you think Article 25 is in conflict with Article 51A of the Constitution? Because in 51A there are a lot of some 20 or some 16 fundamental duties have been given, and to every Tom, Dick and Harry in Delhi University or in HP University or there, here, there is cry that there is no freedom in India, there is no freedom of expression or speech. But at the same time, nobody talks about the Uniform Civil Code. Nobody talks about Article 51. Article 25 giving a lot of freedom to every community, whatever they want. They don't want to sing national anthem. They don't want to come under one national flag. They don't want to say Bande Mataram. Is it in a conflict in the long run? Because after partition, we have seen many partitions of the country which was divided on the basis of religion. Got another partition, 71.
Yes, sir. I
So
think,
don't you think the freedom of expression is in conflict with our fundamental duties or our responsibility towards this motherland, Bharat Mata?
so I think we have given right to freedom of religion under Article 25, but we do have certain restrictions on that. That is based on.
That's my answer.
Yes.
Okay, Vishek. Very good. You have delivered very well. I am happy and I wish you good luck.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Your interview was too good. थोड़ा सा मैं ये बोलूँगा कि when I was interviewing, you were not looking at me.
Okay, sir.
One. And second is your confidence level is too high. Good. You have in-depth study. You are not irritated on some questions which I wanted to provoke, or you are not fumbling after my bombardment of few questions,
Yes.
whether that was a history or whether this or that or what, or Himachal history or. But I would say that you are a young smart guy. बेटा बालों को थोड़ा सा बना के रख लेना, because the way today your hair look like that you are traveling from a railway
Sir, वो
compartment.
helmet से हो गया.
But whatever, I don't have hairs.
Yes.
I kept my hair so preciously after I'm 61. Wherever I when going to my junior officer or senior officer secretary after my retirement, what do? I don't have toilets. I go to general toilet, थोड़ा सा पानी लिया
Yes.
और इन बालों को थोड़ा सेट कर लिया. Because the way you entered, आप भी तो बाल थोड़े सेट हो गए, बाल काफी उड़े हुए हैं. That shows your personality में lack somewhere. Look is also important.
Yes. Definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
The rest of the things were very good. So थोड़ा सा you should have a formal dress उस दिन होगी.
Yes.
और ठीक है, दाढ़ी भी रखनी है, no problem. दाढ़ी तो मेरी अच्छी है, trimmed है, सब कुछ है.
Yes.
Hairs were not up to like you are entering to some wild pasture. जैसे घास खड़े होते हैं ना, this part was not look. The moment you entered, that was the first impression.
Okay, sir.
और हिमाचल के बारे में थोड़ा सा पढ़ लेना, मतलब क्योंकि I should say my own example. When I was appearing in HS exam, then they were bombarded with all historical questions. I was a science student, so they went so deep into the interview that they asked who was the Sonder in Lahore conspiracy, what was Lahore conspiracy, why Bhagat Singh was involved, who was killed, and whether it was SP or the additional SP or what. And after how many days Lala Lajpat Rai died of the beating of the lathis of Britishers. So then they asked me about religious histories, Sankaracharya and all, why the unification and all, establishment of Char Dham and all this stuff. So when I last, those days this training institution was not there, and I was son of a superintendent. So my father was not even knowing that I was going for interview. So I was irritated at the last. They took me about 28 minutes. 22 minutes के बाद I said, I'm so sorry sir, you are just asked me history questions, and my development is in science. I was a science student. I did my medical, I did my MSc, I did my MPhil, and I'm pursuing PhD. There is no look to my academic career. So the chairman just bombarded me. You have qualified for HS.
Yes.
You are supposed to each and everything. It is not a history. Everything you should know. Yes. So that way, जैसे मैंने शुरू में आपसे साइंस के क्वेश्चन पूछे, you were lacking in those basic fundamentals.
Yes.
So those fundamentals that are needed to strengthen your upper knowledge. because your foundations are poor. What is electron? What is meson? I exactly I don't remember what is Iwaka or some Japanese scientist gave this theory after these all electron, proton, and neutron were invented. He said there is another thing existing in the nucleus, and Bohr was also wrong in classifying the difference between orbit and orbital. So I give you what is orbit. It is a definite about orbital is the finding of electron in three dimensions. So डिपेंड करता है बेटा इंटरव्यू बोर्ड पे हाउ देयर मूड इज सो थोड़ा सा बेटा साइंस में इन क्रॉस करो और अपना जो इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियर आई एम नॉट इंजीनियर इलेक्ट्रिकल देयर माइट बी सम इंजीनियर सिटिंग देयर आई थिंक कार्टा इज इंजीनियर एंड वो पूछते हैं आपसे ज़्यादा बहुत ज़्यादा इंट्रिकेट क्वेश्चंस पावर पॉलिसी पावर प्रोजेक्ट्स शानन प्रोजेक्ट वाई still we are 10,000 megawatt, we could have 25,000 megawatt. Why we are not getting Shannon's agreement abrogated in Punjab? Why always a matter of PMB controversies कि वो हमारे इतना compensation मिला था आज तक नहीं मिला. So उसको थोड़ा सा fundamentals बाकी rest of the thing I wish you good luck.
अभिषेक यही है देखो बात रही बेसिक्स वही है इंटरव्यू में जब जाते हैं कि एक तो वही आपके अपीयरेंस जैसे मैं बता दिया और ये मैं पर्सनली तो ये मैंने भी ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम सीखा है कि हम कई बार जैसे एचएस के इंटरव्यू के लिए जाते हैं ना तो हम सारा फोकस ये होता है कि हमारा इसमें कंटेंट क्या है मतलब हमारे एग्ज़ाम में हमारे अच्छा एग्ज़ाम क्या था हम यहाँ इतना ज़्यादा फोकस कर रहे होते हैं और ये ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम मैंने ये सीखा है कि वो अपीयरेंस ना वो मैटर करती है बहुत मैटर करती है वो टू दी एक्सटेंट कई बार ऐसा होता है ना यार एचएस में तो वो देखेंगे कि हमारा दिमाग क्या काम करता है बट अपीयरेंसेस बहुत ज़्यादा मैटर करती है तो जो मेरे को बात अच्छी लगी वो ये था कि यू वर काम एंड कंपोज्ड वो सबसे ज़रूरी है ठीक है ना क्वेश्चंस का आना नहीं आना इवन मैं बोलता हूँ वो भी जो है ना आना या नहीं आना उसको तुम हैंडल कैसे करते हो वो बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है तो जो तुम्हारी सब जो मेरे को देखने में अच्छा लगा वो ये लगा कि यू आर काम एंड कंपोज्ड एंड यू आर काम एंड कंपोज्ड इन अ वे कि जो मैंने एक कॉमन तरीका देखा है और जो सिलेक्शंस हुई हैं थ्रू आउट ईयर्स तो जिस तरह के तुम काम और कंपोज्ड हो इसी तरह से रहना ये बहुत सही है ठीक है ना ये जो इमोशंस अपने होते हैं बाकी हाँ ये जो है अपना ये जो पूरा है इसको जितना तुम थॉरली वो कर सकते हो कि इसमें से क्या क्या क्वेश्चंस निकल सकते हैं जैसे वो उन्होंने बोला कि वो पावर सेक्टर का तुमसे किसी भी हद तक पूछ सकते हैं तो अब उसमें ये है कि ज़रूरी नहीं कि बहुत आगे तक जाना बट एक रीजनेबल नॉलेज होना ज़रूरी है तो ये अपना सारा मंडी के हो मंडी पर रहे नहीं हो है ना ये एक चीज़ हो सकती है तो मंडी के बारे में थोड़ा सा जैसे अब उन्होंने हिस्ट्री में पूछा मंडी के बारे में पूछ सकते हैं और मंडी स्पेशली सीएम साहब मंडी से हैं जी तो मंडी में बहुत सारे डेवलपमेंटल प्रोजेक्ट्स हो रहे हैं बहुत कुछ हो रहा है मंडी के है ना अब वो प्राइम मिनिस्टर आए मंडी देखो उद्घाटन किए पावर प्रोजेक्ट्स के उद्घाटन करें उसमें है ना तो वो डिटेल्स हैं जो मंडी के एयरपोर्ट तुम्हारा मंडी में बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस पूछे नहीं पर ये क्वेश्चंस बनते हैं ठीक है अगर उसको रिलेटेड इश्यूज ठीक है ना तो ये चीज़ें बाकी इंटरव्यू तुमने वो फेस कर लिया हुआ है एसीएफ वाला अब तुम्हें आइडिया तो लग गया है ठीक है ना तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है तो बात सिर्फ इतनी है कि जैसे हो ठीक है थोड़ा सा फाइन ट्यून कर लेना और कुछ नहीं है ये जो तुम्हारा स्टांस है आई एम वेरी हैप्पी विद द स्टांस ये जो स्टांस है ना आराम से काम कंपोज पूछ रहे हैं ठीक है आता है नहीं आता सॉरी बस ये जो है ना कि एजिटेट नहीं होना तो ये है बाकी ठीक है जैसे हो ठीक है थोड़ा सा फाइन ट्यून करके बस
बहुत बढ़िया लग रहा है बस थोड़े बहुत फैक्ट सर्वे चल रहे हैं खासकर जो सर्वे बजट भी होता है ना जैसे डेट कितना है डेट टू जीडीपी रेशियो क्या है फिस्कल डेफिसिट कितना है ना रेवेन्यू कितना आ रहा है हमारा स्पेंडिंग कितनी हो रही है ये चाहिए जब आप बात कर रहे हो ना बोलो इनको जैसे आपको खुद को पता है जैसे हम किसी कोई भी बात करें हेल्थ के बारे में हम बात कर रहे हैं अगर आप हेल्थ हम जनरली डिस्कस करें साथ में बता दो कि हाँ कितना स्टेट ऑफ हिमाचल प्रदेश उसमें इन्वेस्ट कर रही है वो परसेंटेज बता दो तो बहुत अच्छी है अगर आपके पास फैक्ट है ना फिर उनको यूज करो अपने आंसर में बाकी बहुत अच्छा है और बन जाएगी बात ठीक गुड डे